Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1715, written by Tinkerbell 111. Sync, sync, think. I fairly regularly get my hair cut and colored, and I've been going to the same salon, seeing the same hairstylist for about a year now. So I visited this salon no less than 8 times, because I have had other stylists not rinse the color out thoroughly before. I am fairly vigilant about the process, as I don't want the color on my scalp longer than necessary. The hairstylist I've been seeing for the past year does an okay job, but several times I've asked her to rinse a little more in a certain area of my scalp. It feels like she misses. Because of my thoughts around the process, I've noticed several times that their black sinks don't allow the stylist to see if the water is clear or colored when the hair is in the process of being rinsed. I've thought to myself that they likely have the black sinks for their aesthetic because a white color may get stained or show dye and spots, etc. with prolonged use. On multiple occasions, I 100% remember thinking, she can't really tell if the color is out because she won't be able to see it against the black sink. Cut to yesterday. I go to get my hair done, and when it's time to rinse, she takes me to the sinks. They're all white. I notice this right away because, as with each time before, the same thought process about the rinse is running through my mind. I say, "Oh, you've gotten new sinks." And she replies, "No, we've always had the same sinks. You must be confusing them with the black chairs." Because I'm not new to glitches, I immediately understand that is what happened, and smile to myself, not needing to bring the conversation any further with her. If you've ever experienced a glitch though, you'll know it's something that stays with you, something you want to share. Case notes for file 1715. Sync, sync, think. So back in the day when I still had hair, I actually dyed my hair blonde. I don't know why, it was a weird phase. Just thought that was funny, reading this story reminded me of that. But yeah, it seems like a multiverse crossover. Though, if it's persistent to the extent it was, then it must have been quantum immortality. What is the catalyst? Did one of the hairstylists kill you? That's grim, but also kind of funny to think death by a hairstylist. I don't even want to imagine the gruesome details involved in that. No thanks. Case file number 1716, written by LearnStalkBeInformed. 4 years gone, and now it's on. I don't know how this can happen, but hear me out. 4 years ago, I lost a video game cartridge. I was playing it one day and gone the next. Turned the house upside down and never found it. Now the only people living in my house are myself and my partner. We have no kids or pets. The house is very tidy and organized. I'm kind of a freak about it. After a couple months, I accepted the game was just gone. Over the past 4 years, furniture has been moved and every part of the house was cleaned multiple times. We have a TV cabinet with a small cupboard on either side. The left-hand side is totally empty and always has been. I just have nothing to put in it, but when I'm cleaning it, I often open it just to dust inside. I have done this at least once a month, more likely every couple of weeks, for 4 years. The cupboard has remained empty. 2 days ago, I opened it up to dust, and the game cartridge was sitting on the shelf. There's absolutely no way, like how? My partner was just as shocked and confused as I was. I know for sure it wasn't him who put it there, and no one else has been in our house. It seems like such a mundane and dumb glitch, but I can't explain it. Case notes for file 1716. 4 years gone, and now it's on. Classic de-rendered object, DOP. But it's kind of ironic, given that it happened to a video game cartridge. And again, if you don't know, video games have this process where the camera renders what you're seeing, or dictates what is rendered. So if it's not in your field of view, it simply doesn't exist. It might exist on the back-end in code, but it isn't being processed by the CPU or GPU, which is a very good way to save on computational resources, and I think exactly how our universe simulation works. Case file number 1717, written by Poster Nutbag. The echo of hello, but he didn't show. I was coming home from work one day, about 6 years ago. Nothing remotely out of the ordinary. The place I was living in at the time had a very narrow hallway that led to the also narrow back door, the door most of us use daily. There's a staging area for wiping your feet and taking off your shoes, which I'm sure is pretty normal with entrances and exits. On this particular day, I drove home, and as usual, used the back door to get into the house. When I did this, I hit something as I opened it, and was met with an audible, "Oh," in a familiar voice. I live with my landlord. This did not seem at all unusual. I just figured my landlord had gotten home a minute or so, even a few seconds before me, and was just taking off his shoes or coat or whatever in the small staging area in the narrow hallway. I closed the door, waited 30 seconds or so for him to presumably finish what he was doing, and I opened the door again. The thing is, upon doing so, there was no sight of my landlord. He wasn't in the communal kitchen or living room, nor the main floor bathroom. He would have to walk across the entirety of the house and up the stairs to get anywhere private. And I certainly didn't hear any scurrying or fast movements. Kinda weird. I went upstairs, where my landlord and other roommates' rooms are, to see if I was going crazy. The only roommate that was home was one that was known to not leave the room very often, which I could hear talking loudly to people over a voice chat, something he did often. I have a hard time believing he would have had time to even make it up from the back door to his room, jump into a voice chat, and besides, it was definitely not his voice I heard when I opened the door previously. My landlord always kept his door closed and locked, so while I couldn't directly investigate if he was in his room, there was no noises coming from it. He really wasn't there. After this cursory investigation, I went back to my room to decompress a bit after work, attributing this to me going a bit crazy or something. But to confirm my previous investigation, my landlord walked in the back door approximately half an hour later with his briefcase, coat, nice shoes. He was just getting home from work. I was immensely weirded out, and didn't even run by him at this point what I had experienced. I am sure I had opened the door and bumped into someone. I'm sure that someone was my landlord. I had heard their voices 1,000 times, but that just wasn't possible. There was no one that could have been in the doorway, and it certainly couldn't have been my landlord. Case answer file 1717. The echo of hello, but he didn't show. Yeah, so you hopped over to a different universe in that instant, or he did over to yours. But because there were no other differences in your universe, I'm guessing it was a landlord that was bumped into by, in his universe when he went back, no one. So you were both very confused for different reasons. Also, living with roommates can be fun. Through most of my 18 to 25, I lived with a lot of roommates. One house was like 4 other roommates in one. It was a big house though, but you get used to it. And even though I'm an introvert, there's something pleasant about that, knowing there's other people around. Now time for the quote of the day. From Bruce Almighty. Parting your soup is not a miracle, Bruce. It's a magic trick. A single mom who's working 2 jobs and still finds the time to take her kid to soccer practice? That's a miracle. I really like the message of that movie, where you can't just wish away your problems. And what should really be commended is people just going about their day, doing normal jobs, a lot of manual labor. It's good for the soul. There's no doubt about that. Trust in Morgan Freeman. He does have good advice, at least in his roles. And he just says it so well. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.